Hey, this is David Hayter. You may know me as the screenwriter of films like X-Men, X-Men 2, and Watchmen, but you probably know me best as the voice of Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid. And you're listening to Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast. Kept you waiting, huh?
The Kasanova Podcast, the #1 podcast in Hawaii, is brought to you by these contributors on Patreon. If you'd like to see more content like this more often, as well as more podcast reviews, impressions, early access releases, live streams, and original content, then consider becoming a patron today. Welcome everyone to another episode of Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast. I'm your host, Mekel, and I have the honor and privilege of having Dana from StreamYard on the show. Dana, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell people where they can find you, and let's talk about this magnificent platform you guys have with StreamYard.
Yeah, thank you. So thanks for having me on. I'm super excited to join the #1 podcast in Hawaii. I'm Dana Bentz. I'm the head of marketing at StreamYard, which is the platform you're using to live stream, to multi-stream and record podcasts and things like that and interviews. I'm super excited to talk about live streaming in general, podcasting, the whole industry, what's going on now that we're all kind of forced to become live streamers.
Right.
So that's me.
Yeah, cool. And it's something now, like more than ever since this whole quarantine thing has happened, like we have more people looking to get into like content creation and streaming, and it's a very booming industry. And I haven't seen the industry boom like this in many years. And
Yep.
It's if you're trying to get a microphone or a capture card or different audio equipment to do shows or streaming, it is near impossible to get it now. But instead of having to go through expensive software, like if you need to get like an XSplit or you like trying to figure out OBS, like you guys have OBS. It's either I have a love-hate relationship with OBS because
I think most people do.
Right? It's like either it works or it doesn't, but it's like you look at it like you guys have a platform that it's web-based. You got a studio interface. You can put your overlays like everyone's seeing here. You can change up the amount of the way the layout is. If you have multiple people on, they can just join a link. It's everything that I have wanted for years, and it's above all like it's a free platform.
Yeah.
And it's like, really, I have to pay for Zoom or I have to pay for Microsoft Teams, but you guys have such an amazing platform. Like, okay.
Wow. What a good compliment. Thank you.
Let me stop gushing because I love this platform. But what was the founding the founding of this platform? Like, what went into the creation of it and why?
Yeah. So it's so funny. It's so funny that you say all of those things about all those super technical other types of software, things like OBS and just other ways to go live. The two founders, Gage and Dan, they took a look at kind of the live streaming industry as a whole, and they saw, well, yeah, there's a lot of these gamers, like gamers love to live stream, but they also have really technical, like they've got nice computer setups. So high tech, like OBS is easy for them. Stuff like that was easy for them to figure out. But for the average like small business owner, live streaming was just like unaccessible, because it just your random mom and pop aren't going to learn how to use OBS. So that was literally like the I don't know, the inspiration for them to create such an easy to use tool for live streaming. So just like you said, we have a free tool, and then you can pay to customize and to do more feature functions and features and things like that. But you can literally get started in 5 minutes just live streaming, which is really neat.
And it's like, okay, people, when I say this is easy to use, like, I mean, there's a tutorial, but literally you set up your account, you name whatever your stream. You can either stream to Facebook or YouTube or Twitch or LinkedIn, or if you've got your custom on RTMP link, you can customize it and send it to your stream to whatever other platform, or you can even just do recordings. Like, there's a number of interviews I've done using just doing a recording, and I don't have to set up complicated software. All I need is my microphone and my camera and my headphones, and literally, even in that, you can adjust the volumes and everything. It's such Well, and even I'm so glad you say that. Even someone like you, like, you're a experienced podcaster. Like, you've got the mic, you've got the headphones, like, you've got the stuff. But people just hopping on, like, you can just use your built-in webcam and mic. You know, like that works with StreamYard. So it's like we just tried to make live streaming accessible to everyone. Like, why shouldn't everyone be able to use a live streaming tool, not just experienced podcasters or high, like, technical gamers or people like of that type. So we hope we did okay setting it up to be easy to use. Obviously, you guys knocked it out of the park, because it's honestly, you know, okay, people, again, just go to StreamYard.com, set up an account. It's so easy.
Yeah, you don't even have to watch the tutorials.
No.
I mean, that's just if you want to learn more. You know, like, it's all pretty intuitive. You know, like, okay, we walk you through how to add your destinations. That's when you just add your Facebook and your YouTube, and then we ask you can create a broadcast over here, and that's going to be your live stream. And then everything else, it's just like buttons. You know, like how to share your screen and how to use the backgrounds and things like that.
And the other thing too, I wanted to ask is, like, as far as, like, you know, because you're able to simulcast, even with the if you don't use, like, the paid, you know, higher tier, with the baseline one, you can do simulcast to multiple different destinations, and, you know, it's not taxing at all. Like, it's like your platform does all the heavy lifting.
Exactly. Yeah, and we could get way too technical on this, because sometimes I like nerd out on live streaming, but we do. So all of the multi streams is what we call it when you go to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. That's all handled on our servers. So you're just streaming your one feed, and all the guests connect separately. So we're just inputting one feed, so it's not harder on your computer. You don't need better internet or, like, a really good connection. That always helps, but it's not necessary. And then we do all the heavy lifting of putting it out on all those platforms, and then bringing all the comments in for you to see them all on your screen.
And I like also, like, as I'm simulcasting right now to Twitch and to YouTube, you can actually, you know, if you pull up the comment section, you can actually switch between either whatever your platform, if you're streaming to Facebook or if you're doing LinkedIn, you can actually switch between any of them individually, or you can just respond to all, you know, if you have a very active chat. Like we normally we average on live streams anywhere from, you know, at lowest 15 to sometimes we can do 70, 80, over 100 people watching the live stream. And you're able it's
high stakes in here.
It is. And it's like
that's awesome.
We have to, like, you know, sometimes as I'm doing an interview or if I'm doing a stream, I have to switch back and forth between the two. But with this,
Yeah.
You know, if I've got both and I just want to talk to everyone, I can just do that. And with higher tiers, you can actually, I think you can go beyond just simulcasting. You can go to up to what, 3 or 4 different platforms?
Yeah, you can do 5 on the highest tier. So 5 destinations. It's like $49 a month for that plan.
Yeah, and let's talk about the pricing because you guys have really, really competitive prices.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
What was the the reasoning for setting your pricing at such a great rate, like in comparison to competing platforms?
Yeah. One thing about the pricing is we wanted it to be easy. So we're all about ease of use, but we also just want everything to be easy. So we only have the 3 plans. Like everything's super simple. Like it's a monthly subscription. If you want the free plan, you can still live stream, but you can only go to one destination. So like just your Facebook or just your YouTube, and then you have our custom branding in it. And then if you wanna bump up one plan, it's $25 a month. And that gets you everything. It gets you all the customization and things like that, and you can stream unlimited hours. But you can only go to 2 destinations at a time, so like Twitch and YouTube. And then the Pro plan, that's the $50 a month. And I think we wanted to be competitive with other tools on the market that are kind of similar to ours. So that was one reason that went into it. But another reason is we are still like a profitable company, even when we are the most competitive on the market, if you want to call it that. And so I think that had to do with the pricing of it as well.
Yeah, I mean, and you compare like the pricing you guys have with the feature set that you have compared to the platforms. It's like not even at all. It's not even comparable. Like you're able to like get just so much. Like honestly, this is the platform for me that just really pushed for me to want to do my show on a live, style, because before I would try to use Discord, and Discord, I mean, you can do live streaming from it directly now, but if you want like this style layout like I have, I would have to run it into OBS or into XSplit, and then
oh god,
and then trying to make sure it's because like running it into that platform, then it'll mirror your image around. So if you're trying to show something, it would flip it around, and then you have to make sure there's no echoing and all this other stuff. And before I would just, because every Monday I upload a new episode. That one's usually pre-recorded, and then usually Wednesday, Thursdays is when I do a live stream interview.
Okay.
And I typically, before I started using this platform, I'm like, there's no way I could do live stream. Like I'm always like, I tried even with Zoom. I'm like, I'm having so many technical issues.
No kidding.
But like with this, I'm like, man, this literally was a catalyst for me to do a live stream show, and it's like people, the audience here and other people in my Discord and on my social media outlets, they all prefer this platform. So it's like,
oh, that's so good to hear. It's good to hear when so most of our user base aren't actually podcasters. They're people like who have interview shows, like a talk show type. But I think especially since the pandemic has hit and everyone's stuck at home, now podcasters are kind of like, if they don't have their nice studio set up wherever they were doing their podcasts, they're kind of turning to the next best at home scenario, which seems to be StreamYard, where you can do a live show, you can download the recording like you do and upload it somewhere else to podcast platforms. Like you can do so much with it.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the other things too I wanted to ask is, how long has the company been around?
So this surprises people. The first official live stream that happened like with a real customer was in October of 2018.
Really?
So we're like a year and a half old, going on 2 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And far as like your, because you said mostly people doing shows are the ones utilizing it. So are you guys looking to expand more to like, you know, regular streamers as well as podcasters, or like what is the, you know, from a marketing standpoint, what demographic are you looking to take on next?
Yeah, you know, I would love to have a bigger pool of podcasters. Like if we turned into like if we could stream like the podcast live, like stream the audio only. I think that would be a good move. But I think we're actually targeting. We've had so many businesses recently you start using StreamYard as like one of their content marketing strategies, and I think that's been our biggest, like that's who we're targeting now for who's the best person to use StreamYard, like whether that be a small mom and pop shop who wants to get their local business now on social media, or whether that be huge companies that are using this just to produce professional looking live streams. Because I think we fit into any business's marketing plan, and it's really what I like so much about live streaming in terms of like content creation is that it just cuts down the time it takes to produce really high quality content. So like you and we just jump on here, we just roll into our podcast. If there's some errors or if someone says something wrong, you know, we just go with the flow, and there's no editing, there's no, you know, you waste so much time when it's not live. You know, so I think that's another thing people are figuring out now of the advantage of live streaming.
Yeah. And the other thing too is like one of the features that I really like about this is if I wanted to, you know, and I actually utilized this. I had a developer for a very, you know, high profile video game that came out or is coming out, and I utilized this to simultaneously have him and I on one side, and also screen share me and him playing the game, and have the audience live. And it's like we're talking about the different different things in the game, and being able to showcase it to the audience versus you know, going through a complicated setup, and it's so
That's a really neat way to use it, and you can do that with anything. Like you could screen share anything, which is so neat, but it lets the audience see like what you're doing or what you're working on or what game you're playing, which is so fun. And then they can watch you while you're doing that, which is neat.
Yeah. And you know, it's what as far as like one thing, like I know for me, I would actually love to have this feature. I'm not sure if you guys are going to implement it at some point, but I would love, because typically like with my pre-recorded interviews, like I have an intro, say like I have a celebrity, like I've had Isaiah Washington say like, hey, you know, this is Isaiah Washington from this movie, this TV show.
Yep.
You're watching, you know, he does this plug for me, and it goes into like my, hey, if you enjoy the show, I've got Patreon, you can support there, and then it goes into the intro role, and then the introduction of the guest, and then it just shifts to the conversation. And I could pre-package all of that as just a typical MP4 file, and MP4 file. But like if I could have that start at the beginning of my show and then transition over to this, it would be so easy.
Yeah. So do you want it to be so you can like play your uploaded MP4 at any time, but do you want it to start like automatically when your show starts?
If
like,
possible. I would love that feature.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good feature request. You know, we've had that too, and where people also want to have their outro video like stop the show, so they're not like around clicking on things. So because you've got to time it so perfectly.
Yeah.
So I think we do. Since we the two founders, how they base their decisions on like what's the next feature we're going to work on is a couple of things. So we put the feature request to the test of our 3 pillars of business. So the first one's ease of use, which we've already talked about. How easy is StreamYard to use, and if this next feature is it gonna make StreamYard easier to use? And then the second pillar is just professional looking streams. So would this feature help make you look more professional? Which it would, because you wouldn't be having those like little moments in between pictures or in between guests or things like that. But what I think, what was I gonna say? How they decide is how many people need this feature. Like, is everyone just like, please make this for us, like, please, like, this would make StreamYard so much better. Then we're all ears for that. And I think since people do want to start their stream like right with the intro video, I think it could be a feature that we're gonna add sometime soon. And I forgot to mention the third pillar of our business, or how we make decisions, is also the stability of the product. So especially during this quarantine crazy pandemic, we've kind of taken the foot off the gas and kind of put on the brakes for feature wise, and we've been super focused on just keeping the platform up, like having sustainable servers and being able to handle this like massive influx of just everyone who started live streaming in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, and it's not essential, but I'm just saying, like, if it was available, like it would definitely, because honestly at this point now, like what I used to have to do when I used Skype and Discord to do the recording, and also having to run another application to record myself, I'd also had to try and minimize the screens to match what this is, and do the overlays and everything individually.
Yep.
So, StreamYard has really helped me with my workflow, because literally I could stream this, or I could record it, download it. The only thing I have to do is add the intro and outro. That's it. So my workflow.
Love it.
And another thing too, like, I don't even have to adjust the volume levels either, because like with the with this, everything is literally built in. You can check your audio levels for yourself, your guests. You can switch out your cameras, on a dime.
Yeah.
And what I had to do before, depending on what platform, because other platforms don't automatically volume level. So typically for me, doing a podcast before, between editing or recording, I would usually take about 7 hours per episode.
No way.
For a half hour to an hour podcast, literally it would take me that long just to make sure everything is fine. And it's just crazy now. I'm over here like, oh wow, like I literally this cut everything down to, I can bang out an episode within 45 minutes, an hour at that.
Yeah.
And that's including the rendering time for the video. Like, if I just do the audio,
is so crazy. Yeah.
It takes way less than that. But
yeah,
and that's why, like, if there's anyone watching or anyone that will be listening, if you're a content creator, if you're a podcaster, this, or streamer in general, this is a platform that, I highly advocate. And as you all know who are watching, listening, me, I don't promote anything I don't believe in or use personally. And this platform just, it's a life changer, in a way. It's helped me with my business, with my brand, be able to reach a wider demographic of an audience to increase my workflow. And it's such a blessing.
That's so sweet. And it does really, like, it's such a great testimonial to like how, like, it's so easy to use, but not only that, it like saves you so much time. And it also, for maybe not for you because you're experienced, you're a podcaster, but for someone who doesn't really know where to start as a content creator, or wants to create content, doesn't really know how, it kind of makes content creating a lot less scary when it's like, oh, okay, like I could do this. Like I can sign up for an account and just see what this StreamYard live streaming stuff is all about. And then they can watch your show and they can see, wow, that's awesome. Like he's on YouTube, he's on Twitch. Like what's he doing? Like that's awesome. And he's got this cool, whatever that's going on in the frame. Like that's awesome. And they can make it their own, you know? So it makes it so like, I think just more accessible to everyone.
Yeah. And you know, the other thing too, you know, I know a lot of podcasters that I've had on my show, both internationally and nationally, and they come on my show and they're like, what is this platform? I've never heard of it. I'm like, oh, it's StreamYard.
Yeah.
Like, how much does it cost? I'm like, well, you can do free or you can do any of the paid tiers. I'm like, here's the link. And it's kind of crazy how many podcasters I've been able to help convert to using this platform, because a lot of them, it's the same thing. Like they've had the same experience that I had, where it takes
time,
so much time trying to do it, and it's like, you know, and I tell people this even when it comes to me, you know, editing, you know, reviews and impressions and stuff, that the editing process, the process that takes you out of the creating aspect of it, can be such a drainer. Like when you're sitting here and you're editing, you gotta listen to every spike in audio. It's like,
it just makes you want to stop podcasting sometimes, you know? But this makes this keeps, I think what this does is like it keeps it fun. Like it keeps, like we are doing the podcast right now. Like this is the time that's spent. Like you're not wasting all this time on editing and making graphics and things like that. Like it's already ready to go. You know, and I think that makes that it focuses so much more of your time on the important things instead of like fiddling around with tech or like editing or something like that.
Yeah, and the ability, like there's a tab, you know, for the audience that's listening and watching, there's a tab where you can add in your branding. So if you want to change your overlays, you know, if I wanted to, you know, use the generic one that I have laid up, like if I want to do this, you know, or if I want to do that, it's all there at the drop of a hat. Like I can literally, or if I want to use the stock overlay, like for StreamYard, I have that. You know, it's
nice. Oh, you got so many lined up in there. Most people only have one or two.
Like I customize one to each and every one of my guests. Like I want it to
That's so cool,
to be like a very tailored and custom experience, and the fact that I can upload, you know, the branding, and there's a drop down too. Like if I wanted to add a logo, I can add my logos, or I can add powered by StreamYard. You know, it's all there. You know, it's super easy at the click of a button. You just upload your logo, you can upload your overlay, you can upload your background. So if I were to, like, okay, for you guys who are curious, if I do this and then if I remove both of us, and if I add us back in, boom, it's like that. It's so
and you're just clicking, you know, like that's easy as that.
So it's such an amazing platform. I can't recommend it enough. And you know,
thank you. It's so nice. It's so nice. Sometimes we get too focused, you know, on just the details of things. So it's so nice to hear, you know, someone who's using StreamYard and like it's making your life so much easier. Like that's so meaningful to hear.
And you know, I know one other thing, like when it does streaming, it usually sets it about a 720p output. Are there any plans for you guys doing 1080? Like for me,
good question.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely a hot topic. I don't want to cut you off. Were you gonna ask when we're gonna release that?
Yeah, because for me right now, 720 for a podcast is fine. Like I'm perfectly fine with it.
Yeah.
But I know.
Well, you're more focused on the audio, right?
Yeah.
Well, so it's funny you ask. We've had so many requests for 1080, and it is on our road. We call it our roadmap. It's on our product roadmap, but I want to say we're gonna release it in about, I'd say, a couple months, maybe a few months, just depending on how things go in this whole pandemic. But it is like people really want 1080, and so I think that's high. It's a high priority on our list, just because it's just nice to have like an extra feature. 1080, like for the people who the quality of the webcam or the camera is in 1080, like those are the people that we're obviously going to add the feature for. But for everyone else who also has 1080, the funny thing is that so many people do want 1080, but a lot of people don't have webcams that can do 1080. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe they'll go buy 1080 if we release it.
Yeah, and it's an interesting thing too. I work with a lot of my business partnerships that I have. Like I have ones with Logitech, and I have ones with Media and Razer, and they all have cameras that can do, like they even have ones that can do 4K and some that can do 1080. But the streaming standard is 720 when it comes to utilizing cameras. So unless you do the route of using like a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, and then you have to finagle that into your computer, and it's
it's not easy. It's not easy. So it'd be nice. It'd be nice if we just had it, because then everything's just easy. So we got a question from one of our viewers. He asks, can you change boxes with your name under it, like making it a different shape? Which you can actually. If I were to remove this and I go to, show names. I think I set that up. You should be able to. Yeah, you can. There we go. Oh, there.
There we go. So we can change it. It's under the tab of theme, so you can change it to however you want. If you want to show it, I just do. You
just made a fancy one.
I just do that because I figure I want to make it a special experience for my guests and for the audience watching.
Yeah, this is awesome. I don't think I've ever been on a podcast that's had this fancy of an overlay type thing with my name on it.
So, with that being said, like, is there anything, I want to be incredibly respectful of your time, but is there anything you want to leave the audience with, or anything you'd like them to know, or?
Ooh, well, I could talk about the next feature that we do plan to release. This one's probably going to come before 1080p, but it's the mobile hosting option is what we're working on right now, in addition to keeping the platform stable and all the boring things behind the scenes. So right now you can only use your phone for StreamYard to join as a guest. So I could be using my phone, but you couldn't be using your phone as the host, because there's too much stuff going on, all the branding and things like that. But we do plan on just adding the mobile hosting option. I don't know if it's going to be an app or if it's just going to still be the website that you can just go to on Safari or Chrome, whatever your phone has. But it's gonna have a lot of feature, all the hosting features. But most importantly, I think it's gonna have the disable audio processing, which is our HD sound setting, which musicians have been really requesting from us now that they're in quarantine and they're on their phones. They want to use because most people have really nice webcams on their phones or cameras, but their laptops are maybe older. So a lot of people want to use the phone to host their stream or to even join. But for musicians right now, they can't use our HD audio setting on the phone. So we're super excited about that mobile support release, which I'm hoping it'll be within the month or 2 months, but we'll see how it goes. I'm not the one coding it, so I couldn't tell you. But yeah, so if you're interested, if you're thinking about being a content creator or want to just start live streaming, like signing up just for a free StreamYard account, it's so easy to just test it out, and see if it's something that could be added to your content creation strategy.
Yeah. And there's no limit to the amount of people that can join. And like if we were to invite more people, there's no limit to how many we can add in, is there? I don't.
There is for on screen. Is that what you mean? Like if
Yes,
you
on
added more
screen.
guests?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a limit. You can only have 6 people on screen.
Okay.
But we also do plan to increase that at some point to 10 people.
Okay.
But right now you can only have 6.
Okay.
Or else our webcams would be tiny.
Oh, which is another thing. I can go ahead and let the audience see. Like, if I were to remove my overlay, we can actually change it to looking like this.
Yeah.
If you guys prefer this format, or we could just do it this way as well. So there's a lot of customization. Everything is literally at the click of a button, and it's so simple.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I feel like you're a better salesperson of StreamYard than I am.
Oh no, it's just I'm very passionate about your product and your service.
Yeah,
it's,
yeah, I can tell. It's so
I was-
nice
I
to
was-
hear.
So I was so adamant. I'm like, I gotta get you guys on my show. Like,
Yes.
talk about it.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm so glad I came on your show. This was so fun.
So with that being said, where can people find you guys? And I also left links and everything in the description of this podcast. But yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, well, they can sign up for an account on StreamYard.com, or if they want to reach out personally, they can contact me at contact@StreamYard.com. I think the sun's just starting to come out here, so I'm getting all lights on me. But yeah, so you can sign up for the free version on StreamYard today if you want, or if you have any questions, you can reach out to me individually.
Okay. Is there and I know that you have referral links if people want to do referrals to like other creators and stuff like that. Do you guys have a partnership program or anything like that in the works that may be coming down for podcasters or creators like myself or others who may be interested in that?
Yeah, we are kind of testing out an affiliate type program right now. We do have the referral program, which everyone has a referral link. It's just you get if you refer someone to StreamYard, you get $25 in credit. But the affiliate program that we're kind of in the works on, that'll be something that's like you make commission when someone purchases StreamYard. But you can email us if you're interested in that. You can email us as well to see if we can add you to our kind of like beta testing of an affiliate type program. And the email's contact@StreamYard.com.
Okay.
These lights are crazy. It's like an overlay I've got here.
And guys in the audience, if you guys are interested, we have I got all the information in the description of the video. So the website is StreamYard.com. The Twitter is Twitter.com/StreamYard app. Instagram is Instagram.com/StreamYard. Facebook is Facebook.com/StreamYard app. And all the links for everything are in the description. I tweeted out as well, and I highly recommend it to you guys. Oh, Fangirl, she has a question in the chat. She says, is there a lag if you have someone from the UK connected if you're in the US? I haven't had that actually, and I've had several people internationally hop on here. So from Japan to the UK to France, Italy, like I've never had any connection issues, and I think that's more of a whatever their internet speeds and connection, the technical stuff for them.
Right.
But it's the platform itself. Me personally, I've never had an issue with it.
Yeah. No, it's the internet is so crazy now. Like it's so fast that there's no problem. Like you're in Hawaii, I'm in the States. We're well, you're in the States too, but I'm on the West Coast. Like we're pretty far apart, and there's no lag between us. And even if you go farther, there's hardly a noticeable lag. It's just a normal conversation, like you're talking on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that Spirit Shock in the chat. He said that's the benefit of server side compared to peer to peer.
Yeah, true.
And that's another feature too. I definitely want to let the audience know, like, if there's any, like, say we have the comments up or, you know, Twitter or Instagram, well, not Twitter, but Twitch or YouTube or LinkedIn, if someone comments, you can actually go to your comments tab and you can just click here and it shows, you know, the person, the comment, and it's, you know, it's so
Yeah.
it's such a great feature. I've actually utilized it when I've had, you know, several actors and voice actors on, and the audience asked them to like say a line as one of the characters they portrayed. I just pull it up.
Oh, I love that.
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
yeah, it is so neat, and it's such a good way to engage your viewers and interact with them. And I think when people are just scrolling on social media and they stop and see, oh, this person's live, and there's a comment that says something. What does that say? And I wanna make a comment. I wanna ask something on this show. You know, I think that's such a great way to like grow your reach in general.
Yeah. So Spirit Shock, I see you in the chat, dude. He's a UK. He's in the UK. He's a podcaster and a streamer as well. I highly recommend you use this platform. This is why I'm suggesting it to you. There's a lot of cool features that you can utilize. That especially when it comes to streaming and podcasting, it just makes it so much easier. So, yeah, with that being said, I mean, is there anything else you want to leave the audience with before we go, or?
I don't know. I think that covers it. Start streaming. It's fun.
Yes. and with that being said, everyone, links to everything is in the description below. With this podcast, this episode of the podcast, along with many others, you can catch it on. If you want to catch it live, simulcast. I simulcast this live every week on Twitch and YouTube. The links for that are in the description. You can catch the audio versions on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and we can support the podcast if you want via Patreon, which everything that's invested into me, reinvested into this podcast and channel and the content that we put out. And expect a written review of StreamYard to be up on MikelKasanova.com. And
Nice.
it's I'm just going to be plugging it because I think this is something that creators absolutely need. It's absolutely essential, and more people need to utilize it.
Wow. Wow, that's so good to hear. And thank you so much for having me on this show. You know, it's hard to find people who want to geek out on this stuff, you know, and talk about live streaming, because it's not, everyone's not doing it yet. I think we're moving slowly in that direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so nice to be on your show. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And with that being said, people, this is Mekel and Dana. We are signing out. You guys have a great one. Hey, did you enjoy this episode of the Kasanova podcast? Well, I'm sure you did. And since you did, and you're wondering where else you can find it on every podcasting outlet. Yes, that includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Launchpad DM by Podcast One, and so much more. And the only thing I ask of you is if you truly enjoyed it, even if you didn't enjoy it, please leave a rating and tell us what you thought of it, what you like, what you didn't like, and everything in between. And also, if you're looking for video formats of this podcast and many more, you'll be able to find them on youtube.com/MikelKasanova, as well as on twitch.tv/MikelKasanova, and new episodes every single Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, with that being said, this is Mekel Kasanova, Hawaii's favorite YouTuber. I am signing out. You guys have a great one.